Anthony Adebayo. We off the record.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. We off the record. We off the record.
Welcome. Oh, let's get that off of there.
Nah, but that was pretty cool, though. That was pretty cool.
What with that big old off the record in our face?
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
So I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B. How's your week, man?
It's been a roller coaster. This week has been kind of like it's been kind of roller coaster-ish, if that makes any sense.
How so?
It's just, same old, shooting unarmed black men, and nothing happening, just desk duty, authorized vacation ultimately. So and I know we're going to talk about it, but I know we have a guest. So but it's just been kind of, I've been kind of
So all right, let's get into that, but let's start with the Milwaukee Bucks protesting tonight against the Orlando Magic. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it, and I love that everybody else follows suit. I think that was a huge statement. I know Kyrie may want to be like, "Oh, I told you so," but I don't think this is a "I told you so" type situation. I think this is more of a let's do the right thing. I know the players, they have the NBA is going to have a players only meeting in probably about an hour or so, and I think it's needed. I'm very interested to see what comes about with that meeting.
Yeah, I loved it too. It started yesterday with the Detroit Lions. Let's not. I mean, I know it was practice, but it was just. It started with them protesting practice, and then went to the Bucks today. I think the Raptors were the first team that everybody. The Raptors and the Celtics were going to be like the first protest, and then Milwaukee said, "No, hold fast. We'll do it first." What I really like about it, I think, what's being lost is the players aren't just doing this to promote awareness. They're doing this for the guys that can't do it. A lot of people are talking about, oh, it's so greedy of them. Look at the spoiled millionaires. It has nothing to do with that. They're doing this for the people that work for $8 or $9 an hour that can't afford to miss work. They're doing this because for the people that don't have voices, that don't have social platforms. They're doing this for the greater good. And I just see it turning into a situation where people want to hijack the narrative and turn it around to go against the players when that's not what it's about. It's about, hey, this is how we're going to affect change. We're going to start hitting people that are in positions to make decisions or put pressure on people that make decisions in their pockets. We're sitting out. We don't care if it's the playoffs. We don't care if a championship is at stake. This thing is bigger than that. So I've got to commend the players, man.
Yeah, man. But games did happen yesterday, and I guess we can talk about that briefly. And because I know we always talk about mental health, and I tell you what,
I wanted to say that for our guests.
Okay.
I want to say that for our guests.
We'll say that part, but Dallas, the Clippers blitzed the Mavs, man. I mean, it was it got ugly. I mean, the Mavs started off okay, but it got ugly and quickly. And I think they lost by, 40? So, I mean.
The playoffs have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
The playoffs have not disappointed. I guess that's the only thing that I would say, and it has nothing to do with the protests or being negative. For selfish reasons, I want to see the rest of the season play out. You know, I mean, I understand it's the greater good for the protests and everything, but this was becoming a phenomenal end of the season in the bubble playoffs. That Denver and Utah series, Donovan Mitchell and Murray are going back and forth.
They're going crazy. I love it. It's so. I mean, I'll say this. I think that's one of the best series in the first round, Utah and Denver. And then, I mean, even the sweeps were kind of like interesting. You know, it's just, I don't know. Then you got two coaches losing their job. It's kind of weird, man. It's like you want to talk about these guys. How you feel about Nate McMillan? Because
I think he was made a scapegoat. I think that he with that team, without Sabonis and without Victor Oladipo at full health, he overachieved this year. That team, even with those guys, are maybe a second round team. And that's if everybody is healthy. And I didn't really see them beating the Heat anyway. For them not to win a game, that was to be expected. Indiana, I don't think was on anybody's radar. So I felt like Nate McMillan, he got a rough end of the deal.
Right.
Now, on the other hand, Brent Brown, I felt like that was well-deserved and way overdue.
Yeah, so it was, and I was with you, you know, saying that he should be let go. He didn't make the adjustments. You can tell like he lost the guys for the most part. I'm glad that they didn't use Ben Simmons being hurt as a reason to keep him on. I think it was, you know, the writing was on the wall, especially like this year because they were so bad on the road, and for them to get swept, even without Ben Simmons, for them to get swept, yeah, it's time to go, man. It's time to go.
Well, the troubling part with him and what I see with him as a coach was he failed to have the tough conversations to push those guys to get better. You look at Joel Embiid, he's nothing short of a superstar or the capability of being a superstar, but the fact that he just would not work himself into shape, he doesn't seem to be accountable for anything or take it personal. Again, Joel Embiid is one of the, I guess, new emerging superstars of the NBA. He's got a skill set that he's very talented, but it doesn't seem like he really cares as much. You know, that's just my opinion. Ben Simmons, that's another tough conversation too. I've told people this on numerous occasions. People can disagree with me. For that team to coexist, they both either got to sacrifice parts of their game, you know, which I don't think that they really should, or Philly's going to have to make a tough decision and get rid of one of them. Either you keep Ben Simmons and surround him with shooters, or you keep Embiid and let him do his thing in the post, or Ben Simmons is going to have to change positions. He's got to play small forward or something to allow a point guard that can shoot to get in there.
Right. And I don't mind them. I don't mind them playing point guard, but not all game. You see what I'm saying? get another point guard in there, get him off the ball, or get him on the wing, like you said, and let him do what he's supposed to do. But him not being like a shooting threat in this new NBA where you have 7-footers shooting threes, often is not gonna work, man. Even Giannis has shot in the three enough for everybody else to respect it. You see what I'm saying? So for him not to do that, it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, yeah, so they have to make that move. I mean, because he's a great defender. Driving to the lane, I mean, he's one of the best in the league. It's just they're gonna crowd the lane, and that's not good for either him or Embiid. So.
Or Tobias Harris or Al Horford. It's a long jam at power forward there. Like you said,
fired.
Yeah, they've got too many guys that do similar things.
Right.
Tobias Harris can shoot, and Al Horford can shoot, and Joel Embiid can shoot, but they're not the guys you want shooting. You know what I mean? Like Al Horford can stretch the floor, but I want him taking wide open threes when he has them. But I don't want him lurking around the 3-point line all game. Embiid, yeah, he can hit that shot, but I think I would prefer him to be in the post. So yeah, that team, it was constructed horribly. Britton Brown, maybe he's a better he's a better assistant coach. I wouldn't be surprised he'd go back work for Popovich or something like that. But they've got to get a new voice in there, and that new voice he's going to have to demand respect, be respected, and get in those guys. He's got to make them accountable.
Right. All right. So I mean, we got a guest today, so I guess we'll bring him in. We got another VSU grad joining us. Let me get him up in here. Jerome Hood, how you doing?
What's up? What's up, my guys? How y'all doing, man?
Doing well.
Yeah.
Having me on y'all show. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. For real. Much respect.
Thank you for joining us. I know it was kind of last minute, but and it's greatly appreciated, man.
Yeah, you know how the Trojan family do, man. Whenever one call, we gotta
Absolutely.
If I gotta stop everything, I'm coming.
Appreciate it. And another thing, he is from Jersey,
Yeah, Jersey.
He's a Jersey guy. I'm a Jersey guy. So. But all right, so we can talk about you for a little bit, man. Tell everybody some of the things you have going on about yourself, what you got started and everything.
All right, cool. Yeah, like I said, my name's Jerome Hood, man, from Jersey. Just like everybody else, when I'm migrating after high school, came down to Virginia, went to Virginia State, graduated. Then make my way back up to Jersey, kind of settled down in the Virginia area, Richmond and Petersburg. Wound up graduating with a degree in business marketing. Wound up staying a little bit, wound up getting my master's in special education. I kind of found a love and knack for, and I'm gonna get into a little bit, what is it I do today, but I kind of found a knack and love for, working with kids and adolescents and being able to tell my story and, and helping them go through the things that they're going through and help them survive and, just help them with anything that they're going through. Especially nowadays, man, it's social media and the internet and everything. It's crazy. So I definitely wanted to be an inspiration to the kids and, be a positive Black role model in the community. So once I found my knack for that, it kind of led me to where I'm at today. I currently own a mental health company where we deal with adolescents and adults. We help them overcome any trauma, emotional, or behavioral issues that may be stemming from inside the home, school, or community setting. A lot of time we've seen, some of our kids or whatever acting up. 9 times out of 10 is issues that's stemming from the home. So what we do is we send master level counselors out into the home and help them overcome, just help them with the family dynamics, help them with identifying their triggers. So that way, when they are back in the environment, whether it's in the community or school setting, they are products of the environment and being able to be stability. We're kind of like the liaison between them going to juvenile detention center, or if it's an adult, we are like the liaison between them being hospitalized. So we like it's important. We like right there at that pivotal moment for them in their lives to help them, decrease any emotional trauma issues or behavioral issues that they may be stemming from. So we've been open for about, it's going on 7 years now. I have 2 locations, one in Richmond and another one in Manassas, Virginia. Some of the services we provide is intensive in-home. That's with our adolescents from ages 5 to 18. We also do mental health skill building for adults, where we help them try to find housing, help them with family dynamics, help them try to find jobs, educational management, medication management, all the above. Just help them with their everyday day-to-day living. And then we also do substance abuse, where we help people with addictions, overcome that whole stipulation, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol. So we provide substance abuse as well as another service at both of our locations. Yep. Okay, go ahead. No. But outside of that, I also own a trucking company that me and my wife just started not too long ago. I also dabble in real estate as well. So just trying to break that generational curse, man, and have different streams of income and provide for my family. That's who I do it for. So that's kind of like on the mentality that I'm on. But it's, especially in today's society, because you definitely need more than one source of income, and just being able to provide generational wealth for my 2 lovely kids that I have. I have a young daughter and a young son as well. So I know we was growing up, man. My mom ain't leave me nothing behind. So I just want to make sure, what I mean? She did everything she could, but I feel like that older generation with our parents, they didn't have the lack of resources that we have nowadays. So it's very important and imperative that we set the structure up for the generations in the future, kids and peers left behind us.
So a true Black entrepreneur. So when Jay-Z wrote that song, he had you in mind, right?
Yeah, perfect timing, man. That was perfect timing too, especially with everything that's going on. Definitely. Real quick before we jump in everything. I know I was listening to you guys earlier, and I know I've been watching what's been going on with the NBA and everybody kind of like, not playing today and how they're using their platform. I just feel like, man, we all got a job to do, regardless if you want to or not. Like, I feel like we all got a responsibility, and I thank you guys for having this platform, whether it be the NBA, whether it be you guys' platform, your podcast. Like anything that we could do to get that message out there, I think is very important. And I feel like we all got a job to do, no matter what scale and what level we all on. Like whether it's from the ground level to the highest level, as black men in society, we definitely have a responsibility to do.
Yeah, thank you for that. So something that I was thinking about when I found out you were going to be a guest, and I saw that you're into mental health. And one thing you did mention that you're watching the NBA bubble.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Paul George and what he talked about with his mental state and what he's going through?
Definitely. I think it's for them to even, I commend them. This is where everything was going on with the coronavirus, and people got their personal issues. It's just like, man, you never know. For one, you never know what the next person is going through, and for 2, I feel like we all got mental health issues. Some might be severe than others. But we all have, demons that we're dealing with, and, to be able to talk about it, because mental health is one of those things that gets swept under the rug, and we don't, especially in the Black community, we're scared to talk about it because, we don't want to be labeled as crazy or, as a man to talk about, some of the issues. It's like, it makes you feel less of a man if I got, be able to talk about it. We was taught to hold those things inside. So for him to just be able to speak about that, I commend him. Just with everything that's just going on, man, it's just like, I applaud, being able, one of those things is being able to communicate, some of the mental health issues that, we all have, and just be able to talk about it. That's, especially with the NBA, I'm noticing a lot of players is coming out talking about the mental health issues. And the biggest thing is to have that start that conversation. And I feel like it's not to the forefront yet, but I feel like we're getting to that direction where it's going to be to the forefront sooner or later. And we're going to have to talk about these issues that's going on in society.
Yeah. So and that's a good point. So, we've been dealing with COVID and Corona. How has that really affected your businesses or actually the mental health aspect of things with your clients and things of that nature? How has COVID affected that?
Yeah, definitely. From a business standpoint of view, it's good because we're getting the clients in. But some of the things that we're seeing, especially with the adolescents and the kids, they've been off for the past, I don't know, maybe 5 months before they ready about to get back to school. So being able to see some of their behaviors and seeing some of the things that they're used to and having an extended period of time of just being off and being able to adjust, getting back in the school setting. A lot of them, they already had as much time on their hands anyway, being on the internet, whatever, social media and all that stuff. So, and having that COVID, having them sitting out, we seen an increase in, in defiant behaviors. The parents, they ready to get rid of their kids, not like literally, but, just sitting around the house and giving them something to do. So it's increasing their stress level as a parent. I know it was increasing mine, just trying to adjust and deal with my 6-year-old daughter and making sure she's staying busy and trying to keep her out of trouble. But I think everybody's stress level was high, just dealing with it because it came out of nowhere and this happened all of a sudden. Nobody was really like prepared for it. So, we were just kind of living day by day, trying to adjust accordingly. But please believe, the stress level and, everything just been high. I think for the most part, everybody, and the clients in our program, they're kind of channeling down. Everybody's kind of getting ready and, a little breather with school. But even though some of them is virtual, it's still an adjustment that we have to make. But for the most part, man, the clients, like I said, it's just been an influx in the behaviors just because they don't have nothing to do. So you know what that is. When you're adolescents, you ain't got nothing to do. You're just going to find trouble.
So you're a Jersey guy.
Yes.
Who are your teams?
Oh, man. Football, I'm an Eagles fan. And basketball, they took away the Nets from us. But I was an Indiana Pacers fan growing up. Don't ask me how. It's crazy, right? I was a Pacers fan. So when we was talking about Nate getting fired, I felt a little bit type of way. But, I felt like he was a scapegoat as well because that team wasn't at 400%. But they had a solid team once they all healthy. I think the outcome would have been a little bit different in the Heat series if they was at full strength. I'm not saying
they still would have lost, but
but it wouldn't have been it would have been crazy. Like yeah. Jimmy Butler makes a big difference for that Heat team. But but I feel like those are my two teams that was growing up, the Eagles and the Pacers.
So what do you think the Pacers are missing? If Nate McMillan was a scapegoat, what are they missing?
I feel like the Pacers, ever since that Paul George, Lance Stevenson era, like I felt like they was missing like one piece, and I don't know exactly what it was. Maybe another solid wing, or a four. But right now, I just feel like it's a restructured year. Oladipo, I don't know if he's always hurt. He's always hurt, so you might have to move him. Me personally, and Bill maybe surround Sabonis and Warren. It's tricky. It might be a rebuilding year. They might be trying to get rid of some more people after Nate McMillan departure.
You think so? So here's my thing with the Pacers. The last 3 years, they've never gone into the playoffs full strength, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I feel like so I'm not Sabonis, but Oladipo is going to be a free agent after next season.
Okay.
They may end up trading him to get
in the draft, right?
No.
What? Oh, not to cut you off. What draft pick they got? Wasn't they high or no? Am I tripping?
I don't think they're in the lottery. Yeah, I don't think they probably got mid first. So I think what's going to happen, they are going to have a draft pick, and that draft pick may be okay, but if they happen to trade Oladipo next year and get more pieces, because you're right, they got Sabonis, we got Warren, they just signed Brogdon, still got Miles Turner. They got a pretty decent
squad. Got some pieces. Yeah.
So if you get that one free agent, I don't know.
I think also, as we've seen with Toronto this year after Kawhi left, you don't need that star like Toronto balling. They just need that, that nucleus team, the key pieces. But I feel like they don't need like a star. They could be like the Toronto, have a pure solid team without having like that star attraction player, big time name coming to them.
See, here's my thing with Toronto. I think that Siakam is going to eventually develop into that player. I feel like that. Yeah, there's no replacing the Kawhi Leonard, but I think I don't think he's reached his full potential yet. I think he's going to be a lot better. He's going to probably develop into that superstar. Kyle Lowry, I think, with Kawhi Leonard gone, he's stepped up a lot. So it's allowed him. Van Fleet too has been he's been balling. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to win the East. I think I got them winning the East, but I think, like you said, they add a couple more pieces. They're going to be there to stay.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about this Houston OKC series? That's been going back and forth too.
Man, I thought I thought Houston was going to sweep them. It was looking like that for the first two games. Then, I'm not really a big Chris Paul fan, but he's stepping up. I feel like he's overrated as a point guard. That's just me personally. I know the stats and everything may say anything. I think he's overrated, man, because I just like, man. But I feel like
it's a lot of people that feel that way, though.
Yeah, I feel like it's time for Russell Westbrook to come back if he can. They on the ropes right now, Houston. Like, once they can figure out James Harden, like after that, and they don't got no go-to for real.
So let me ask you this, because this conversation comes up all the time.
Okay.
What is overrated about Chris Paul?
Man, for me personally, I think he never won the big game. For you to be that big-time player, I feel like he never really won the big game. He never been to the finals. I mean, granted, it's hard getting there, but for him to be that key player and that superstar player in the league for the most, outside his stats, really, like what has he really done? Now, granted, he might not have been in the greatest situation, but he has some solid teams around him. Like, he could have got it done.
Oh, I agree.
I think that Houston series was the last year or the year before when I felt like they should. I think he got hurt or something.
He got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt. Like that. I felt like
always hurt.
You feel me? He ain't get it done. So it's like I ain't giving that guy no excuses, man.
And I felt like I do feel like they could have beat Golden State that year. But
yeah, they definitely could have.
That was. So all right, let me ask you this.
Right.
So if you think Chris Paul is overrated,
right.
Do you think Doc Rivers is overrated?
Nah, because Doc got the ring to back it up. Doc got the ring to back it up.
He got a ring from 10 years ago.
He still got a ring though, man. He
hasn't been to the conference finals since what? 2011? No, 2010.
2010.
This might be his year though.
He's not winning the ring this year. They're not winning.
No, he might get to the conference finals.
Yeah, he definitely.
Yeah, they'll get to the conference.
That Porzingis getting sitting out. Yeah, I mean, because I really think healthy with all their pieces. Oh yeah, Dallas was going to make a run at them boys, but same with the Lakers. I'm not saying that it was luck that Dame Lillard ended up getting hurt, but they were going to push the Lakers to 6 or 7.
Yeah,
easy.
I feel like the Mavs, they just need a solid wing, like a real solid wing player. I don't
know. I don't think Portland was going to give the Lakers a run. Here's the thing: the Blazers don't play no defense, and the Lakers play great defense. So you look at these 3 games that 4 games.
It's 3. Yeah.
No, it's 3-1. It's 3-1. No.
The 3 games that the Lakers won.
Series, all 4 games. Those been the lowest points Portland has scored since we've been back in the bubble. You know what I'm saying? So, I feel like the first game, the Lakers had a chance to win. They just was like missing free throws and it was like I think that game Portland woke them up, but they were still playing good defense. But so I thought this was going to be 5. I had
the Lakers in 6. I had them winning at least 2, the Blazers, but I had the Lakers in 6.
And that's possible. But I'm not gonna let you off the hook. We gotta get back to Doc Rivers because Chris Paul was his point guard. Yeah. Probably longer than anybody else, right? Any other point guard he's had, Chris Paul has been his point guard the longest. And they were up 3-1 against Houston. In 2015? Up 3-1 with a loaded roster. That team was loaded.
I don't see how they didn't make at least the finals. Like that was crazy.
And they didn't even make the conference finals.
I don't blame
the team was constructed bad.
Yeah,
it had a lot of talent, but it didn't really fit. It
No. I disagree there.
I think his rotation was bad too.
So here's the thing. They should have broke that combination of DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin up sooner. They did too much of the same thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a balanced attack. And you know, he brought up a good point when he talked about Portland having that solid wing. It felt like they could never find the right two guard or the right wing. And a lot of that with the way that they played, it was just like Lob City.
Yeah,
that's literally what it was. Neither one of them could really play with their back to the basket. Yeah. Blake started shooting the jumper a little bit later, but for the most part, it was just throw the ball up.
They had a ton of shooters, though. They had a
ton of shooters?
Yeah, they had J.J. Redick, they had Jamal Crawford, Chris Paul could shoot the ball.
Yeah.
And then they had some. Then they had other role players. Matt Barnes was on that team. That team was loaded, man.
It's loaded with talent, but that doesn't mean that it gels. So when you say shooters, I agree with you. J.J. Redick is a shooter. Jamal Crawford and Chris Paul can shoot. They're not shooters. They can shoot. It's a huge difference in that. Huge difference.
So
you know who they reminded me of?
You told me coaching.
They reminded me.
I ain't tell you. I'll tell you GMing. Because he was the GM. He was the GM.
That team reminded me of the Blazers. What was that 2001, 2000? They had like a loaded team, man. Yeah, they remind me of them.
They don't get no sympathy from me. They had a 17-point lead in the fourth. They don't get no sympathy to close it out.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Sacramento, Portland, all those teams, man, they were just some of the old Dallas teams. They were just loaded, but they just, for whatever reason, it didn't gel. I think, and what we were talking about with the 76ers, one thing that's consistent in basketball, even though it's changed the style of play as far as the pace and space, everybody on the team has to have a role. Yeah, that's it. You got to know what the team wants you to do. And you can't go outside that role, you know. And that's one thing that I'll credit Phil Jackson for is every team that he's ever coached, this is your role. You shoot, you don't dribble, you pass the ball. This is when you're going to get in the game. No, literally, you have to outline what that person is doing. If you got everybody just out there just trying to be the man and just jack up shots and they're not on the same page and everybody doesn't have the same goal, it doesn't matter how much talent you got. And that's why I see with them Clippers, the Portland teams, they just was just out there, man.
Yeah. Sixers, they got to break up that team. One thing I'll be getting frustrated when I'll be watching Embiid because he's just so skilled and gifted. Like, I don't know, when he be coming out shooting, like, yo, get your behind on that block and dominate. Like, when it's time to dominate, he's like shies away from the moment. He want to be out there shooting threes and pump faking one. I'm like, yo, get on that block, like, and get busy. Like, that's the only way they're going to really, like, dominate the game. And he just be, like, out there on the three-point line. I'm like, man, they ain't going to never win. Like,
all right,
to me, it's stamina. Stamina. Yeah. That joker looks tired 2 or 3 times up the court, man. And that's why he can't stay healthy.
And he's a star player because you can market him and everything. Like, so he's definitely he definitely got to get it together though.
All right, so let's get to the winner of the week.
Okay.
All right.
No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner.
Welcome back. All right, so my winner of the week this week is Thom Brenner. If you don't know him, he's the broadcaster for the Red Sox that got on the air last week and said, this is Gaylord City. I thought that had to be the biggest idiot. He was on live broadcast and said, yeah, this is like Gaylord City here. And I want to tell you, he said that joint while we was on the air, right? Twitter got a hold of it. By the next inning, he was apologizing. By the end of the game, he almost lost his job. They ended up letting him go. But I was just like, yo, how can you be so stupid? So this week, man, that's my winner of the week, man. Did you hear about that yet?
Yeah, I knew about that. So here's the thing. This guy, his dad was a broadcaster. I think his grandfather was a broadcaster. So he was raised in this, and you can tell because I want to say it was like either the fifth or sixth inning. That it was the sixth inning where he said those, or in between the innings, and when he was apologizing, in the middle of his apology, he was calling a home run. So it's like, hold on, wait a minute, and he did it like seamlessly. It was seamless. Like it was part of the apology. So I felt like there was an issue with that. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he finished the game. I think that they pulled him off the air.
I'm out of there.
And the thing is, so he works for Fox, but they took him off the NFL broadcast that he was going to do. They took him off of a lot of things because he's a pretty popular guy, and so it comes back to the. Should he lose his job or should he have lost his job for this? I say yes. And no one can convince me otherwise because you look at somebody like Nick Cannon. I brought this up probably a couple of weeks ago. But you look at somebody like Nick Cannon, who did say some anti-Semitic stuff on air on his podcast. He eventually apologized, but they wanted him to go above and beyond in order for him to keep his job, and I thought that was unfair. So yeah, let this older white man who was using the gay slur lose his job.
Yeah. I think he should have been fired. I agree with that. I think people have lost their job for less. But yeah, they got him up out of here though.
Especially when in a position like that, like you gotta be held accountable, man, and like you can't let something like that just go. Especially now in today's society, like.
No, and so I saw some because I tell you this, black people are so forgiving, and I think we're forgiving to a fault sometimes. And it's like I've seen some black colleagues of his say, he shouldn't lose his job, he shouldn't be suspended, he should be reprimanded. Yes, but I don't think he should lose his job because I tell you what. If the roles are reversed, do you think that he's gonna fight for these? Like, let's just say it's Stephen A. Smith. Do you think Tom is Brennan, right? That's how you say his last name? Yeah. Do you think Tom Brennan is gonna go to Fox and say, I don't think he should lose, or go to ESPN and say, I don't think he should lose his job. He's an upstanding citizen, blah blah blah. They're gonna be like, no, and he won't do it. He won't do it.
Nope.
I just think we're too forgiving, and you can see
forgiving to our oppressors, man. Huh? I said sometimes I feel like we the most forgiving when it comes to our oppressors, and that's a whole other topic for real.
Yeah, man. So I mean, at the end of the day, this guy, he should know better. Right?
Definitely.
So, but it was some I know we were talking about earlier, and I guess we could, double back. And okay. I wanted to get your thoughts on everything that's been going on with the shooting in Wisconsin with give me his last name, Jacob. What was it? I know what I'm talking about. And I'll get it. So we're clear. But what are your thoughts on all those things?
Same thoughts as everyone else, man. It's a war going on outside, man, and it's just unfortunate that as much as we've been through in today's society with camera phones out there, it's like, what else do we gotta present and show? Like, look what's going on. Like, we're being targeted, not even targeted, like we're being hunted, and we don't get the fair treatment as if with any other ethnicity, with other I apologize. And words and tangled, but we don't get the same treatment. Like, you all know, if that was a white guy in that same situation, they handle him a totally different. Like, and they just be so quick to draw the guns and shoot us. Like, and thank God he survived, but it's crazy. And another thing too, on the back when it comes to the mental health thing, like, and seeing black people die like that, that's traumatizing, man. Like, it's a lot, and I have to explain to our clients. That's in our program, my family members, my daughters, and people, my peers. Like, look, sometimes you gotta take a break, like, from social media, man, because just seeing that, and it's already embedded in my head. So when I get pulled over, I'm scared. Automatically, I'm scared. I just want to make it home to my daughter. Like, but and cops, I feel like they thrive off our energy and how we come off to them. So if they come off aggressive, they want us to be aggressive. So we already got in the back of our mind, like, who you talking to? Like, so that's already embedded in us, just seeing what's been going on. So anything that triggers them, now they coming off, they trigger happy, they pulling their guns on us. So it's like, I don't know, man, it's a lot to take in right now, what's going on. And it seems like the message is not really getting clear, or it's not coming across as this. For them, like shooting us, it's just like, man, like what else got to be done? I don't really know.
So the big thing that stuck out to me was when somebody got their kids in the car, you got to handle that a little different. I mean, even the fact, like, let's even take away from the fact that he even got shot. Just to have guns drawn on you in front of your kids is traumatizing. I mean, and then you double down on that by the kids having to watch their father get shot by the police. It's just, and I guess where people are missing the point with this is it's not really about what he did. Yeah. I'm not even saying he did anything wrong. It's a way to resolve it without somebody losing their life. Whether it be him being arrested, whether him being restrained and taken down, whatever the case may be, it's got to be a better solution to being shot 7 times.
And not to cut you off. So, like in the mental health field, we train our counselors, and I'm not comparing the mental health field to police station. I mean, being a police officer, but our counselors are trained. So when you got an aggressor, your clients is being aggressive. The first thing is not to fight aggression with aggression, right? It's being able to de-escalate the situation, and then if you got to go to your being aggressive or using restraint, then you go to that. But the first thing is, look, I don't want no problems. Like, I don't want to, I don't have no problems with you that you're trying to de-escalate the situation. The cops, they going for blood right off rip. Like, you know what I mean? They don't know what type of day somebody might be having. It just automatically. And it's like, if you look at every situation, none of these victims or none of these cops' life wasn't threatened. So it's like it was crazy. And his back was turned to them. So at some point, they could have restrained him. Like, he literally took 5 steps to the car with his back turned with 3 cops. Like, come on now. Like, that's crazy.
But like you said, and like you just pointed out, that's how they should be trained. And that's how, and in reality, most of them are probably trained to be the de-escalators, to be the calming person on the scene. Because if you're a cop and you're coming to a scene, the other person may be upset. You don't know what happened. Like you said, you don't know what type of day they had. So you got to be trained to de-escalate it to where it doesn't get to that point. But I'll make one last point before Ant jumps in, because I want to give him an opportunity to talk. But we're conditioned to that's how the cops approach us. That's normal to us. That's maybe not with their guns out. I'm not going to say every black person's had guns drawn out on them. But I will say a lot of us have been in situations where they feel like the police are talking down to them, or they're in a no-win situation. And you got anything to add?
Yeah. So it is tough, man. And I think that it got to be a point where you're like, damn, again, because I'm sure y'all can agree to this. When you get pulled over, first of all, when you get pulled over and you start getting goosebumps, at least I do. You start getting goosebumps. You start, your antennas go up. And what I do, all 4 windows are coming down, all 4. I don't want to hit. I don't want, my hands on the steering wheel, and even my seatbelt's on. When they come and ask me any questions, I'm saying, before they ask my license and registration, can I take off my seatbelt? I'm going into the glove compartment to get my registration and everything. And it's like, okay, we do that because it's almost like a defense mechanism, right? Mm-hmm. But then you hear stories like this Dylan Roof kid. I remember the guy in South Carolina.
He's still alive.
Yeah, they went into the church. They prayed for him. He ended up shooting all these people. They arrested him. They arrested him, and then took him to get something to eat. They took him to Burger King before they even took him to the precinct because he was hungry. Man, and if that was a black man, that black man would not have made it out of there alive. Yeah. He wouldn't even made it out of that church. Wherever they found him at, they would have shot a black man dead if he would have went into a church and killed multiple people. It gets frustrating. It does. And I know, I remember how I felt when the whole George Floyd thing came back, and how it was just like draining, where I couldn't even work. And I've been working from home. I had to take the day off because it was just a lot, man. And so, I felt like, not that it was getting better, because I knew it wasn't getting better, but it was almost like you can breathe a little easier, somewhat. But this kind of brings us right back to the beginning. And it brings us right back to the beginning, and it's just like, damn, again. And those are my exact words when I first heard about this a few days ago. I said, damn, again. And it's just like, you don't want to get desensitized to it, because that can easily happen. Growing up in northern New Jersey, you always hear gunshots go off. So it was just like, you hear gunshots, you're like, all right, you know what to do. To get away from them gunshots, get low and retreat. Yeah. And it's just like, you kind of get desensitized to it. But now, when you got black men that's unarmed getting shot in front of their kids, this is crazy. And it's not even the first time. This is not the first time. And unfortunately, it won't be the last time. I hope it won't be none of us. I hope it won't be none of our friends, our family, because we're black men with black families. So it's just like, and we all have sons over here. So it's like, damn, now we got to have this conversation. And it's like, when do you have this conversation? Because our sons are young, and it's really frustrating. And I think the first thing to do when people, lastly, my fault, Scott, last thing I think is that there does need to be some sort of reform with the police. And I think when people hear defund the police, they think, take the money away from the police, we don't need police. And that's not the case. It's use some of those funds to help the inner cities where they don't have the funds to have seminars, or use some of those funds for police training. It is at a point where we all need help. And like you said earlier, we all have some sort of like demons and some sort of mental health issues. And most black men is PTSD.
Yeah, and we don't know how to deal with it.
This is what I always suggested with the police. I think they should have to go to a 4-year institution. I think we should pay them more, but I think like they should have to go to like a college, not no state trooper training or no 6-week or 8-week training. They should have to go through a full university and a program to where, like you said, they take their time and they teach them all these things, and they got to study. I mean, and you look at other professions like nurses or just a lot of other professions out there, they got to go to school. You just don't get to graduate 12 weeks later. Oh yeah, you get to have a gun and de-escalate a situation, or however long the academy or the sheriff's office is. I think they really do need to go to institutions, man.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
And we had Sharif. He said, I can't. Dr. Francis Cress Wessling reminds us that we must teach our children about racism by age 5. That you know how crazy that is. It is wild, man. Like,
just think about that. That's
at 5. So we should be showing like that's wild. Because when we were 5, we didn't. I don't think and I could be wrong, but when I was 5, I don't think I really understood any of those things. And when I was 5, I was in New York, and I will say my parents did a good job. They just, we had like some freedoms, but there was some things we just couldn't do. We wasn't staying out, hanging out late, and all my sisters weren't, or they made sure that we were educated to certain things. But 5 years old,
I think our parents did a good job of like trying to hide it, not hide it, but like trying to, cover it up as much as possible. But it's hard nowadays, man. Like I said, with the internet and social media and just way technology is, it's hard to try to hide that from our kids. I talk about that because my daughter, she talks about Donald Trump in a light where it's like she understands that he don't like black people. You know what I mean? So like I gotta have that conversation. My daughter's only 6 because these kids are having this conversation at school. So she brings what they talking about in school to the home. So I kind of got to sit her down and explain to her what's going on. Like there's good people in the world and there's evil people in the world. And like just have that conversation and break it down to it like that. But like I said, these kids have access to way more than we had, growing up. Like so, it's just like as African Americans, we got to make sure we protecting them and loving them and outside that, just keeping it real with them as well, man. Cause like there's no more sugarcoating anything nowadays, man. You gotta keep it real. Stay 10 toes down, like and protect what's yours at by any means necessary, man. That's where it's going.
Well, I think the other side of it too is with everything that's going on, you can't not have the conversation.
Yeah, you got
what I mean? Like with the protests, I mean, you look at it now, they're protesting basketball. Okay, if you got a 7 or 8-year-old or whoever, they understand that. Yeah. They understand people marching and people rioting and stuff. And you have to be candid enough to have those conversations. This is why people are upset. Yeah. I had to have a very long conversation with my 7-year-old regarding all this. And it was a tough conversation. I think he understood it a little bit, but like you said, it's going to take a lot more conversations about it because racism it's a very complex. I don't want to say story, but it's got like a lot of different things to it. Where you a lot of history to that. Yes, a lot of stuff you got to get into, and I was like, maybe I got to get more educated before I have this conversation again with him, because.
Yeah, I mean, and it's tough. I mean, and again, the conversations need to be had, and we'll continue to have the conversations. Jerome, again, I appreciate you coming on here, kicking it with us, and sharing your story. Let everybody know how they can reach you, your companies, and everything.
Oh, definitely. I'm on Instagram, Jerome Hood _. Facebook, you can look me up, Jerome Hood. If you're looking for any services dealing with mental health, you can reach my company page at btgfs.org. Our Instagram and social media handles is btgfs as well. That's pretty much it, man. I got my trucking company, a couple things going on, but I just want to salute you guys as well. Like I said, I'm very proud and excited and thankful for you guys for having me on your show.
Absolutely.
I feel like I want to be welcome me back anytime and let me know.
Every guest is always welcome to come back, man. Every guest
it's an open door. All you got to do is hit me up. Hey, I'm trying to come on there.
We had a lot of repeat guests at this time. People always say they have a good time. So
yeah, definitely. Like I said, especially with just everything that's going on, man. Just having, like I said, going back to what we talked about before, having that conversation. It starts with, having that platform, just be able to speak, about what's going on and just shedding that light, man. So, like I said, much respect to you guys, man. Definitely.
Well, definitely appreciate you.
And hold on, before you get out of here,
Okay.
You like the Eagles, man?
Yeah, don't worry about the hat, man. I'm gonna fit it, man. So I got a bunch of hats.
I just want you to see this right here. You see who that is?
Oh man,
that Zeke jumping over the Eagles.
Yeah, okay.
Scott, for whatever reason, Scott hates that picture, and I'm like, hey, all right, let me tell you something. Scott's a hater.
First of all, I don't hate the picture.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I just ain't going to acknowledge liking it.
Hey, Dallas gonna pay Dak or what, man? What y'all doing?
I mean, he get paid $31 million this year, but he's gonna get a deal next year. They gonna get it done.
I ain't getting no deal, man. They gonna mess that up, man.
Y'all gonna have to go to the Super Bowl or something for him to get that deal. There's got to be something.
If that's what it takes.
Yeah.
If that's what it takes, man. What, Scott?
I ain't say anything.
Oh, all right. I was just making sure.
I ain't say anything.
But no, again,
he might be in that burgundy and gold.
Oh man.
And on that, hey, again, thanks, man. I appreciate it, man, and we're definitely gonna keep in contact and maybe we join forces with anything you have.
Yeah, definitely collaborate, man. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much.
All right, thanks.
All right, man. Much respect.
All right. That was Jerome Hood, another Virginia State grad. Great story. So, Scott, man, we had these battles, on Sundays. I tell and maybe maybe not next week, but the week after. Next week, everybody, we have Trey Rainey, another repeat guest. he'll be joining us next week. He has a lot going on, and he's gonna catch us up on everything that he has going on. But maybe the week after, we had some of the people on, but these battles are getting really, really intense, man. Listen, y'all think Scott's bad on the show with being competitive. He is 10 times worse when it comes to the battle. I don't know what I shouldn't. I was thinking maybe I shouldn't have invited him because he is a whole different person.
I am a competitive. I think that's one of the biggest secrets that most people that don't know me. Like, because people keep saying, they're like, yo, I didn't know you was that competitive. And it's like, yeah, I've always been that competitive. But, when you're in a friend environment and you don't have anything to compete for, you just, you can chill out. And most of the time I do chill. But yeah, competition, man, it turns me into a whole different person. I want to win everything at all costs, at all times. That's how I roll with that, man.
And it's getting really, really good. But I will say, last week was one of my favorites. Scott Scott battled, and some of our other friends battled. It was for my birthday, and they battled. I enjoyed all of it. But aside from ours, we got Brandy and Monica. I just wanted to get who you had in that.
So now before I get into that, the battle with Nair was a tough battle.
Oh yeah.
So the battle with Nair was a tough battle.
Yeah.
That was a good battle. He beat me fair and square. I did take aim at one of the judges. I want to let her know that I'm not mad at her. I just sometimes you got them swing judges, man. I was like, man, if I could get her to vote for me this one time, I'd be good, or it'll change it. Because that one went into, what was it, sudden death / overtime, down to the wire. I was like, man,
So Brandy, Monica, who you got?
I don't know, man.
Answer why.
I'm gonna go Brandy.
Okay, all right. Smart man. Brandy's gonna. They got 20 strong. I think it's gonna be like 12-8. 12-8, maybe 11-9, something like that. It'll be really close. Hold on, we got another shout out real quick. Sharif says, please contact Zaki Ali about being on rebuilding Timbuktu. And Zaki is very knowledgeable. I'll tell you that. She's like one of the smartest women I've ever met. It's amazing. And she was on the round table, and will probably be on the round table again when we talk about the black vote. But before we get out of here, hold on. This is almost like a weekly thing, Scott. Your followers. What's up with that, man?
Man, it's increasing, man. It's the show. It's the competitiveness during the battles. Who is that guy? It's like, yes, I Competition brings that mean streak out of me. It just brings that different. My wife calls it. My middle name is Quincy. She calls it Quincy. She's like, that's when Quincy comes out. Is when you're competing.
All right. Well follow Scott, y'all. Scott Q Smith. You can follow me too, Vipers31 on Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, man, Off the Record, the OTR brand on Twitter, the Off the Record show on Instagram, Off the Record on Facebook. Look out for other things coming soon. And we are out of here. This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B.
We off the record. Anthony Adebayo. We off the record.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo.